The unexpected encounter and the nostalgia of a forgotten past. 3 months locked inside my house. 3 months without seeing anyone. 3 months trying to process the fact that my 32 years of life had been one giant lie. And when I finally went outside, I ran into the one person I never expected to see. Look, I know this sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it actually happened to me. I found out I was adopted in the worst way possible, during a family dinner where everything came out. And after 3 months of hiding from the world, ordering delivery, working from home, avoiding everyone, I finally worked up the courage to go out. I walked to a neighborhood coffee shop, a simple, cozy place. I ordered a coffee, and then my life flipped upside down all over again. Here's the thing. When you find out your entire family has lied to you for 3 decades, what do? How do you deal with that? I had no idea. I spent 3 months literally avoiding all human contact. I was completely lost, working from home, doing the bare minimum to survive. But inside, I was destroyed. Every time I looked in the mirror, I thought, who is this person? Where did I come from? Who are my real parents? Why did they lie to me? And it's funny how the mind works, because in the middle of all that chaos, of all that confusion about identity and family, there was one person I couldn't stop thinking about. Jane, my ex-wife. We had divorced 2 years earlier. 2 years with zero contact, blocked on social media, numbers deleted, everything. Completely over. And yet, she kept popping into my thoughts, especially during those 3 months of isolation. Now, you might be thinking, dude, you just found out you're adopted, that your family lied to you your entire life, and you're thinking about your ex? How does that make any sense? And honestly, I get it. It does sound strange. But the truth is, when everything in your life turns out to be a lie, you start questioning absolutely everything, including the reasons behind your divorce, including whether you made the right decision, including whether the person you pushed away might actually have been the only one who was ever honest with you. So back to that day at the coffee shop. It was the first time I'd left my house in 3 months. I needed fresh air. I needed to see people. I needed to feel alive again. I chose that cafe because it was close, quiet, and because I didn't think I'd run into anyone I knew there. I ordered a coffee, sat at a table in the corner, started watching people. Couples talking, friends laughing, people working on their laptops. Normal life, something I hadn't had in a long time. And then I saw her. Jane. She was standing in line with her back to me, but I recognized her instantly. The way she played with her hair while reading the menu, the way she leaned slightly forward when she was deciding something. 2 years without seeing her, but those things you don't forget. My heart started racing, and not just because I was seeing her again. It was because in that moment, I realized where I was. That coffee shop, that exact place, that's where we first met 6 years earlier. I was working on my laptop, and she asked if she could share the table because the place was packed. We started talking. 3 hours later, we were still talking. We exchanged numbers. 2 weeks later, we had our first date. 8 months later, we were living together. A year later, we were married. And throughout our entire relationship, that coffee shop was our place. Every week, we went there. Weekend mornings for breakfast, after work to unwind. Whenever we had an important decision to make, we'd go there and talk. It was our safe place. Until it wasn't. Here's what most people don't realize about relationships. They don't end overnight. There's a whole process. There are signs. There are moments where you could have fixed things, but didn't. And when it finally ends, you're left with that feeling of, what if? I stood there watching Jane in line, and all those memories hit me at once. The good ones, the bad ones, the last fights, the last time we were together in that cafe, about 2 months before the divorce, when we barely even talked. She turned around with her coffee in her hand. Our eyes met. The look on her face was complicated, Surprise, of course, but also something else. It wasn't anger, it wasn't indifference, it was somewhere between recognition and nostalgia? Maybe even a bit of concern. This is where it gets really interesting. She started walking toward me. My brain went into full panic mode. What do I do? Pretend I didn't see her? Run out? Say hi like nothing ever happened? Before I could decide anything, she was already standing in front of me. "Hi," she said. Just like that. "Hi." "Hi," I replied. Brilliant, right? We stood there staring at each other for a few seconds that felt like hours. Then she asked, "Can I sit?" I nodded. She sat down in the chair across from me, the same chair she sat in 6 years earlier when we first met, the same chair she sat in hundreds of times during our relationship, the same chair she sat in that last time, 2 months before our divorce was finalized. "Are you okay?" she asked, and it wasn't small talk. It was the kind of question asked by someone who genuinely wanted to know the answer. And look, I could have lied. I could have said, "I'm great, how about you?" and kept things surface level. But after 3 months of processing lies, after discovering my entire life had been built on secrets, I didn't have the energy to pretend anymore. "No," I said, "I'm not okay." Now think about this. This was the person I had divorced 2 years earlier. The person I'd argued with, fought with, said terrible things to. The person I had blocked everywhere. And yet, when she asked if I was okay, it was the first time in 3 months that someone genuinely seemed to care about the answer. She didn't say anything right away. She just picked up her coffee, took a sip, and waited. Like she knew I needed to talk, but on my own time. "I found out I'm adopted," I finally said. The words came out before I could stop them. 3 months ago, at a family dinner, or rather at dinner with the people who pretended to be my family for 32 years. Her expression completely changed, pure shock. "What?" And then I told her everything. About the dinner, about how I found out, about how my biological mother suddenly showed up that night, about the other secrets that had been hidden. You know that look people get when they say, "We need to tell you something"? I told her about the 3 months I spent locked inside my house, about how I couldn't even look at any of them, about how every family photo now felt fake, about how I no longer knew who I was. Jane listened in silence. She didn't interrupt. She didn't try to give advice. She just listened. And when I finished, she reached across the table and put her hand on mine. "I'm so sorry," she said. And it was genuine, completely genuine. We stayed there for over an hour, talking about everything, about nothing, about how life had changed over the past 2 years, about her job, mine, about that coffee shop and all the memories we had there. And then she said something that changed everything. "Do you know why I kept coming here even after we broke up?" she asked. I didn't. I assumed she'd avoided the place, just like I had for 2 years. "Because this is where we were happy," she continued, "and I wanted to remember that it was real, that it wasn't all bad, that there were good moments, even if it ended badly." And that's when I realized something important about relationships, about family, about everything. The real question isn't whether there were lies or mistakes. The question is what you do with them, how you process them, how you move forward. Did they lie to me? Yes. Was it wrong? Probably. But they raised me. They loved me. They were there for every important moment of my life. Was that a lie too? No, it couldn't have been. And Jane? Our marriage ended. There were fights, hurt feelings, things we said to each other that can't be taken back. But there was love, too. There were real moments. There was a connection that apparently, 2 years apart, hadn't completely destroyed. Sitting there in that cafe, looking at her, I realized I'd spent 3 months running from the wrong people, or maybe running from everyone, when what I really needed was to understand, to talk, to process things differently. "I blocked you everywhere," I told her. After the divorce, I completely erased you from my life." "I know," she said with a sad half-smile. "I did the same." "Why did we do that?" I asked. And it wasn't rhetorical. I genuinely wanted to understand. She thought for a moment before answering. "Because it hurts less when you don't have constant reminders, or at least that's what we tell ourselves. But the truth is, it just postpones the pain. It doesn't fix anything." And she was right, completely right. I learned something that day, right there in that coffee shop, in that reunion I never expected. You can't run forever. Eventually, you have to face things, face people, face the truth, no matter how painful it is. My family lied to me? Yes, but they also loved me. Both things can be true at the same time. Is it complicated? Absolutely. Confusing? Completely. But it's reality. And about Jane, well, this is where the story gets even more complicated. Because sitting there, talking to her after 2 years, I realized that maybe our divorce wasn't just about the two of us. Maybe it was about selfish choices, about being in the wrong place in life, about not being ready for certain conversations. But now I was different. I'd gone through something that completely changed my perspective on truth, on family, on what really matters. "You know something?" I said to her. "I thought about you a few times during those 3 months, more than I expected to." She smiled softly. "And now?" I asked. "We're here, talking. What does this mean?" She took a deep breath before answering. "I don't know, but maybe it means that some things don't end completely. Maybe it means we needed that time apart to understand what we really had." I don't know what's going to happen with my family. I don't know if I'll be able to fully forgive the lie, or if I'll ever look at them the same way again. But I know I have to try. Because at the end of the day, they're the only people who've known me since I was a baby. They were there for every birthday, every graduation, every important moment. And Jane? I don't know about that either. We exchange numbers again. We're talking, slowly. No rush, no huge expectations, just reconnecting. But here's the truth I wanted to share with you. Sometimes the answers you're looking for don't come from new beginnings. They come from revisiting old things with new eyes, from understanding that people are complicated, that relationships are messy, that families are imperfect. And that maybe the key to moving forward isn't erasing the past, but making peace with it. That coffee shop is still our place, mine and Jane's. Now we go there from time to time, as friends, as people who shared a story. And maybe, just maybe, is something more in the future. But that's a story for another day. Because there's more I haven't told you yet about why we really divorced, about what happened at work, about the person who entered my life and destroyed everything, about how after her, everything started to fall apart. But that part of the story, that part is more complicated, more painful, and it involves secrets I kept, even from myself, for a very long time.